I've already started Vlogmas and I didn't realise. It's June. And I've started Vlogmas. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Debbie and I read a lot of books, and I have finished another book on Burroughs. This book is The Man Who Died Twice by Richard Osman, and it's the second of the Thursday Murder Club series. That is the front cover. I am really enjoying this series. I cannot wait for the next one, and I want this to be like a TV series. I think at first I thought it would be a good film, which to be fair it would be, but I want to see this as a TV series now because so much happens and I wouldn't want any of it to be left out. It's just so good and it's so British. I love it. I haven't got proper blurb on here. I had to get the audiobook up to get the blurb because it's not on the regular planner. But yeah, The Man Who Died Twice, Richard Osman. It's the following Thursday. Elizabeth has received a letter from an old colleague, a man with whom she has a long history. He's made a big mistake and he needs her help. His story involves stolen diamonds, a violent mobster, and a very real threat to his life. As bodies start piling up, Elizabeth enlists Joyce, Ibrahim, and Ron in the hunt for a ruthless murderer. And if they find the diamonds too, well, wouldn't that be a bonus? But this time they are up against an enemy who wouldn't bat an eyelid at knocking off 4 septuagenarians. Can the Thursday Murder Club find the killer and the diamonds before the killer finds them? I feel like I didn't say that much about the first book because I was trying to kind of keep wraps on it, but I figured that anybody who was reading The Man Who Died Twice quite possibly read the first one, so I feel like I can go and delve a little bit more into it. So it's 432 pages on ebook. It's in contemporary fiction, crime and thriller, detective, family sagas, general fiction, and why can't I say the word humorous? Humorous fiction. And humorous fiction. It is a very, very funny book. It's a funny series. I love how English it is. Just the idea of these 4 people in a elderly retirement home just interfering with the police and getting themselves involved in these murder mysteries. It's just so good. There are some small references to the first book, but it's not to the point where it feels like it's spoiling the first book, and it works well as a book on its own without having read the first one. If you haven't, obviously I have. So basically with this book you delve a lot more into Elizabeth's storyline. You look at a lot more at her background. I'm not sure how much I said in the first video about the first book, but this basically delves a lot more into her history and her life as a spy. And The Man Who Died Twice is reference to a case which you're pretty much dropped into straight away, where she remembers a time when they made it seem like somebody had died, but basically the man didn't exist. So they basically got just an abandoned body out of the Thames, said this was the guy that involved, and then they had like a fake funeral for him and everything. So the guy did get buried, just under the wrong name. But it's got very, very dark bits to it, but it's also got that dark humour, which I feel is very, very English sense of humour, that British sense of humour. Oh, I just hit my 250th hour, that's great. But yeah, so it delves a lot more into Elizabeth's background, and again, it's written in the same style as the first one, obviously, where it's majorly in the third person, and then the only person who you hear of in the first person is Joyce, because all her chapters are done in diary entry form. I do wonder where Richard Osman is going to go with that as the series goes on, if it's ever going to become a bigger part. Maybe if he delves more into Joyce's background. I mean, you already get quite a lot out of Joyce because her entries are kind of in diary, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see if anything happens with that, because it does make you feel like you're seeing everything through Joyce's point of view, because she's the only person that you get it in the first person. Oh, I don't know how to speak. But yeah, it's just so clever, and it does feel very different from the first book. It's the same but different. It's weird to say that, because in the first book it was very much kind of like a local murder, so it seemed a lot more homely and family based. Whereas with this one, it's still got the family thing to it, but because they're bringing in like the mafia, it just turns the whole thing onto a more of a global scale. So rather it just be focused on just the retirement village. Because the first book was just so focused kind of in one area, the fact that in this one, like, they're getting on planes, they're travelling a lot further, and the fact is they've got the mafia involved. So I do find it great how you can get a chapter from somebody's point of view and then realise, oh, the only reason I'm getting this point of view is because something's about to happen to them. And so, yeah, because you've got obviously your four main narratives. I say four. You've got the retirement village, you've got Donna at the police station, you've also got her mum in there as well now with Patrice, and then Chris, and the love story in there, because going back to the first book a little bit as well, because in the first book when Chris meets Donna's mum, you realise there's a bit of a spark, and this book focuses on that relationship as well. So you see in the relationship between, is he DI, Detective Inspector Chris, and seeing Donna's kind of embarrassment. Because I must admit, in the first book there were points when I thought, oh, are Donna and Chris going to end up together, and I just thought, oh wait, no, no. At this rate, Chris is going to end up as Donna's stepdad because of his relationship with her mum. And it's so funny watching Elizabeth trying to figure everything out, because Elizabeth always has to know everything, but Joyce is always there going like, yeah, but she doesn't always know everything. She always seems confident, but she can be wrong. So Elizabeth's trying to pop the pieces together, because she's there going, I know that he's got a girlfriend, but I don't know who she is. So when she calls him up and there's like an argument on the other end of the phone, and then Patrice comes on and says, hi Elizabeth, I'm the girlfriend. And so in that case, it was a case of Elizabeth didn't work it out. Patrice forced herself into that to say, yes, I know that you know that he has a girlfriend. I know you don't know me, but yes, my name is Patrice. And I think it's great that we should meet at some point, because my boyfriend is essentially part of the Thursday Murder Club. So yeah, we obviously have to meet at some point. But then Elizabeth still doesn't make the connection between Patrice and Donna. So seeing Elizabeth's cogs whirring, trying to figure out that relationship, because I think it's on that phone call when Elizabeth says to Patrice, oh, have you met Donna? And Patrice says, yeah, I've met her a couple of times, because obviously she's kind of joking in the fact that, you know, Donna is her daughter, but Elizabeth doesn't know that yet. That feels like such a small thing to talk about in relation to the rest of the book. But I just find it funny how you see those little personal moments of Elizabeth not actually knowing anything, even though she always wants to know something. Joyce is just there along for the ride a lot of the time, because there's a point when she says, oh, I now understand why my jacket and umbrella were on the side. Elizabeth put them there because she is ready to take me somewhere. And Joyce is just there going, yeah, I just trust Elizabeth implicitly, and I know she'll never put me in any real danger. So she just goes along with everything. Even to the point when they actually kind of are in danger at the end of the book, and Joyce is still in the back of the car when there's a gun on them, and she's just there thinking, yeah, we might have a gun pointed at our faces, but Elizabeth will get us out of this. She just trusts her explicitly, and I find that so cute. It's just such a funny book. And when you get the thing, because at the beginning, when you find out more about Elizabeth's backstory and her role with the spies and her role as a spy, and you look at the relationship that she had, which she thought she'd left in the past, and then he turns back up again. Basically, you find out that her ex-husband has made it to the retirement community with a fake name, and that fake name is the fake name that they both came up with when they were spies. God, this sounds so cheesy. But when they worked together, the name that he uses to kind of let Elizabeth know that he's there is the name they used on the guy who they made up because it was about passing messages and stuff, and they just thought the only way to kind of stop this is to say that he's died, and so they make up his death and stuff. Her ex-husband uses that name to tell Elizabeth that he is there and that he needs her help. And everything comes back to that relationship and how much he's still in love with her. And he's there with like a handler called Poppy. But yeah, so just to break it down a little bit, basically Elizabeth's ex-husband, Secret Service agent, broke into the home of a criminal banker, made the mistake of taking off his balaclava, so he was caught on security, and he's accused of stealing, is it £20 million worth of diamonds, which basically he admits to stealing. But he only admits to stealing it to Elizabeth, and basically the banker that he stole the diamonds from threatens him with mobsters and the mafia. So it all comes back to these diamonds, basically. You're trying to figure out whether he did it, where the diamonds are, because he obviously doesn't have the diamonds on him. And then when it looks like he and his handler have been killed, they're trying to work out, have they been killed? Was it staged? Who is still alive? Where are they? And putting together the pieces of a puzzle left behind through a letter to Elizabeth. And you realise that it's one massive puzzle that he has purposely left for her. As they kind of go through the letter and try and figure out those little clues, it leads on to something else. So it does feel like a bit of a scavenger hunt. And it all seems like he's done it on purpose. He's done it on purpose. But yes, so I just realised that through talking I've never actually said what Elizabeth's ex-husband is called. Is Douglas. Douglas, his handler is Poppy. The first time you meet Poppy, you see her as just a waitress who is not very good at being a waitress, and Elizabeth is very clear about the fact, I think even both Elizabeth and Joyce make comments saying she's not good at her job, but they say it to her, just like, oh, don't worry, you'll get better. And she's just there going, oh, I don't think I'm supposed to be a waitress. And to be fair, she's not supposed to be a waitress. But yeah, it's just so good, it's just so funny, it's just so funny. I just love the fact that it almost feels like you've got lots going on. It's not actually that much going on really, but there is also kind of like the side storyline, which at first they seem to very separate, but they do come together as it comes to like the final like climax bit. So many points when I thought they were going to caught out, especially leading up to the end, when you've got a drug dealer who they're trying to kind of manipulate a bit. And she's there going, I know this person from somewhere. Just like, oh no, the cover is blown, it's all gone wrong. And then you realise that she just recognises him from something else that he has done, where he's pretended to be someone else. And it kind of ends up fitting together for the drug dealer, even though she's completely got the wrong end of the stick. This is such a little bitty review. There's little things, because I finished this book yesterday, so I'm still reeling from it. And this is one of those books where up to the very, very last line, everything is to do with that main plot. Yeah, because it feels like 3 different storylines, because you've got Douglas with his storyline with like the diamonds, and then the mafia getting involved. There is also the fact that one of the main characters, Ibrahim, at the beginning of the book is mugged not far from a police station, and he also gets kicked in the head. Fortunately, he's got quite a good memory, and so he's able to say exactly what happened to him, and he's able to identify who injured him, who hurt him, and who stole his stuff. And so that becomes a theme of the book, where as well as looking at the whole diamond thing, they're also trying to track down the kid that attacked Ibrahim and get their revenge, basically. So through that you see Joyce saying things like, oh, maybe he had a bad home life, but at the same time he's messed with the wrong people. We are going to get our revenge. And so you've got that storyline, and then you've also got the police officers. You've got Donna and Chris investigating a drug dealer. They seem like 3 very different themes going through, and then the way it's all brought together, the way that Richard Osman brings all those 3 storylines together is just epic. It is so good. And the chapters you get where you're getting the point of view of the teenager that they are hunting down, oh my god, I wanted to slap him. He's portrayed as a teenager who is very pompous and thinks that he's cleverer than everybody else, and he thinks, oh, they'll never catch me. And it's just like, you don't know what you're messing with, darling. You have no idea who you've messed with by beating up Ibrahim and stealing his stuff, because you have just happened upon the Thursday Murder Club, and they will do anything to find you and to put you in jail. And the things they do to him, oh my goodness. So it's stuff like, if it happened in real life, they'd never get away with it. Because you care so much about these characters, and because you care so much about Ibrahim, the things they do to Ryan, the kid, because of those chapters where he acts like he's the best thing since sliced bread, and so smart and so clever, and how he's there going, oh, they'll never find me, they'll never catch me. And then Joyce outsmarts him. Oh, I think Joyce is my favourite. Everything with Joyce's point of view coming through, oh, she's just so adorable. I want her to be my grandma. But yeah, just the way that she her point of view on everything, and the way that she is taken on this ride by Elizabeth, and the way that she just implicitly trusts everybody. You hear about her relationship with her daughter as well, and the relationship that she has with her daughter, and the way they talk to each other. It's just so real. It's just so real. And so you've got all these crazy things happening around, and it's like Joyce is the voice of reason throughout all of it. And she's seeing Elizabeth go off in her spy world, and you've got everything else happening around them. Joyce, with her diary entries, is the voice of reason in this crazy world. So good and so funny, and can you tell I love this? Love it so, so much. So it's The Man Who Died Twice, the new Thursday Murder Club mystery by Richard Osman. The reason it says reserve is because I've already returned it so that I can get other books. Just so funny. So if you like a murder mystery, if you like just very British dark comedy, this is one for you. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up because I've no idea how long I've been talking for. I think I've been talking for about half an hour. So thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye, my lovely page turners. I feel like I should have a name for you guys, and I don't know if page turners has been taken. I think you should be my page turners. Bye, my lovely page turners.